Good morning, children. Welcome to accountancy class. Now we are discussing the last topic of the second chapter, that is a theory base of accounting, title of the chapter. So now we are discussing the second part of that chapter, that is goods and service tax. In that previous video we already discussed about the meaning, categories of GST and how it is living, everything we discussed in the previous video. And main topic as per the syllabus cases, this is the main content, that is what are the different objectives and characteristics of GST that we can discuss in this video. Okay, let's start. So objectives of GST. First one, developing common national market by having one direct tax. So not direct tax, GST is indirect tax, only one indirect tax. Earlier period so many other taxes related with the business, the sales tax, VAT, like that we discussed in the previous video, but now one tax is there, that is the common national market by having one indirect tax. That is the first objective of a GST. GST is a step towards the development of a common national market by levy of one indirect tax GST, and this facilitating free flow of goods and services across India. So goods and services can freely flow across the India, and commonly one tax is there. This GST is a step towards the development of a common national market by levy of one indirect tax. Okay, so developing common national market, that is the first objective of GST. What is the first objective of GST? Developing common national market in India. That is the ultimate aim of GST. Okay, common national market, that is create a common national market with the help of one indirect tax. Name of that indirect tax is GST. Okay, so with the help of that GST, we can facilitate free flow of goods and services across India. That is the point. So this is facilitating free flow of goods and services across India. Next objective of a GST, decrease in cost of goods by removing cascading effect of indirect tax. So value added tax cases, so many other one by one step it is adding tax. So cost of that goods will increase, that is the point. So with the help of GST we can reduce the cost of goods, that is the second objective of GST. So decrease in cost of goods by removing cascading effect of indirect, means indirect tax cases simply adding one by one step cases adding the tax. So this we can eliminate or we can avoid with the help of GST. So after effect of that one is result of that one is we can reduce the cost of goods. So GST, that's a point explanation. GST paid, that is input GST. Yesterday it's a previous video we already discussed about input GST, output GST. That is a purchaser point of view, that is the input GST, and seller's point output GST, isn't it? So that is if a GST paid, that who is paying this GST? That is the purchaser of the goods or services. That person is paying this GST. So GST paid, that is called input GST, is set off against GST collected output GST. So this is in effect GST is charged on the value added in the subsequent sales. As a result, cascading effect is removed. So otherwise it is adding one by one only. So with the help of input and output we can adjust input GST, that we can adjust with the output GST. So cascading effect we can remove. Okay. So with the removal of cascading effect of this indirect tax, so tax on tax effect, that is a point. Tax or tax means additional tax we are paying. This is the first we are in earlier period, that is the value added tax case, VAT cases before introducing this GST. So one by one step, first tax plus tax on tax we want to pay. That was the condition. So now that one is removed. That is called a cascading effect of tax that we can remove with the help of GST. Now only one tax is there, that is GST. Okay. So with the removal of cascading effect of indirect tax, that means a tax on tax, additional tax, and allowing credit of this GST paid against GST collected. So if we can adjust input GST with the output GST, what amount they paid, they can adjust with what amount they collected. So balance amount only they want to pay in the authority, pay to the authority. Okay. So that is finally what is the effect? Less cost of this goods is the final effect of that one. Okay. Second objective is a decrease in cost of goods. Okay. So actually that is the point. First point is a developing common national market. Second point is a decrease in cost of goods. How we can decrease the cost of goods? By removing cascading effect on indirect tax. Now third point is that is ease of doing business. So with the help of this GST we can do that business very smoothly, that is ease of doing business. So GST is a comprehensive indirect tax. So meaning that almost all indirect tax except tax on petroleum, duties on alcohol for human consumption, customs duty and taxes levied by local bodies are merged into India. So also with improved harmonized indirect tax administration, setting up and carrying on the business have become easier. So now that is easy of doing business. With the help of GST we can do business a very easy way. That is otherwise very tough. Tax is a very complex one earlier period. So now that problem we can avoid. So that is a third objective of GST is ease of doing business. GST is a comprehensive indirect tax, meaning that almost all indirect tax almost all indirect taxes included in this merged into GST. Almost all indirect taxes merged in one tax, that is GST. But in certain cases that is separated tax we have to pay, except that is in the case of a GST certain taxes are not included, that is except tax on petroleum, duties on alcohol for human consumption, customs duty, tax levied by local bodies. These are the exempted from the exempted items, means which are not included in GST, but other taxes, this VAT, this other customs duty, these things we are customs duty not other this other taxes are we can included, that is the previous taxes which are included, sales tax. So these are already included in this GST. So GST is a comprehensive indirect tax, meaning almost all indirect taxes are merged into GST, but in certain cases certain taxes are not included. What are they not included in GST? That is tax on petroleum, duties tax on petroleum. These are exempted things which are not included in GST. Tax on petroleum, duties on alcohol for human consumption, customs duty, taxes levied by local bodies, etc. Okay. Also with the improved harmonized indirect tax administration, setting up, carrying on business has become now easy. So another point, that is with the improved harmonized indirect tax administration, setting up, carrying on this business very easy. Now third point is simplifying the compliance of indirect taxes. So we can simplify the compliance compliance of this indirect taxes. Compliance of indirect taxes have become much simplified with the introduction of a GST. A business has to comply with the GST alone as against many other indirect taxes and the early indirect tax system. Early indirect tax system, so many other taxes are included. So now these all are merged into one. That is a simplifying compliances, simplifying the compliance of indirect taxes. So many indirect taxes were there. So now it was simplified. Better and effective indirect tax management, that is administration of control of GST has become better and more effective since one indirect tax. So better and effective indirect management. So this will help for effective managing of this indirect tax. So administration and control of GST now become very easy, become the better and more effective since one indirect tax, that is GST, has to be administrated and controlled by the authorities. Earlier so many taxes they want to control and administrate it. Now they want to concentrate in one tax. So that is the better and the effective indirect tax management is possible. As a result, tax evasion is reduced to the very large extent. So means they can, authorities can concentrate in this one tax. So that's why anyone is evading, means they are not paying any tax, they can easily catch that person. So as a result, tax evasion is reduced to the large extent. Okay. So different taxes are there. So that yesterday we discussed in this previous one. So this one. So that is indirect early period indirect taxes. Early period this taxes cases, taxes, two types, indirect taxes and direct tax. Indirect tax early period, this from the center government and from the state government, different types of taxes are there. That is a service tax, excise duty, CST, customs, like that. State cases are VAT, then VAT means value added tax, entry tax, octroi, this luxury tax, like so many tax they want to control. Now this full all taxes now it is merged into one. So that is called, it is these all are replaced by GST. So this management can easily control this GST because they want to concentrate to one tax only. Earlier period number of taxes were there. Now the better and effective management of indirect tax is very easy because indirect tax means only one, it is the GST. So direct tax is income tax. Okay. Now next, so fifth point is better and effective indirect tax management, and sixth point is the sixth objective. Now we are discussing the objectives of GST. So sixth one is attracting foreign indirect investment. So that's the point. So foreign direct investment, FDI, full form foreign direct investment. So GST will attract foreign investment as a major barrier of attracting FDI is removed. That means attractive foreign direct investments. And so this will means tax also will reduce, the cost of investing, everything is reduced. As a result, foreign companies also can directly invest in our country. Okay. So GST will attract foreign investment as a major barrier for attracting FDI is removed. Now next one is uplifting of GDP, that is gross domestic product. So India has a cash economy. As a result, data for computing GDP, that is gross domestic product, was not reliable. With the introduction of a GST, the business are more channelized, resulting in more authentic data for GDP. As a result, GDP will be higher. So this is our you will study about the GDP detail in economics. Okay, so this is GDP now it become very will be it will increasing this GDP, gross domestic product is increasing. So how to calculate its methods, details you will study in economics. Okay. So India has a cash economy. As a result, the data for computing gross domestic product was not reliable. So because our different earlier period, so many taxes were there. So in such cases, our calculation of this GST is not in accurate manner, or not in a reliable basis. So but now only one tax is there, GST. Due to this computation of this GDP also very easier manner, and we will get the correct GDP. As a result, GDP is showing higher. As a result, GDP will be higher. So GST, the business are more channelized, so resulting more authentic data for GDP, means getting the correct data to the GDP for calculating GDP, for finding the accurate GDP, this correct information who can give this with the help of this GST, they can give the accurate data for calculating GDP. So this will result GDP will be higher. Then eradicating the cash economy, that means GST has brought a system whereby business are more and more coming into the system, resulting in the eradicating cash economy. So that means GST has brought in a system whereby business are more and more coming into the system, resulting eradicating cash, means with the help of this everything is electronic based only. So accounts based, not in cash basis, that is transactions with the help of electronic way of, so this debit card, credit card basis, or this that means a net payment, this Google Pay. So many nowadays there is e-cashes, means a different other than this physical cash, other we are doing this transaction with the help of electronic payment. So accurate correct information we will get from this one. So eradication cash economy. So GST has got in the system whereby business are more and more coming into the system, resulting in eradicating cash economy. So because this GST also with the help of electronic payment based only it is doing. So that's why cash system we can avoid. Okay. So that is eradicating cash economy. So these are the different objectives of GST. What are the different 8 objectives I mentioned here? First one is developing common national market. Next one is decrease in cost of goods. How decrease in the cost of goods? Removing the cascading effect of indirect tax. Then next one is ease of doing business. Fourth one, simplifying compliance of indirect tax. Fifth one, better and effective indirect tax management, attractive foreign direct investment, uplifting of a GDP, then eradicating cash economy. So these are the different objectives of a GDP. Now next one is what are the different characteristics of a GST. Sorry, previously I told that are the different objectives of a GST. Okay. Goods and services tax. GDP means a gross domestic product. Okay, that is a different one. Then next one is a characteristics of a GST. What are the different characteristics of a GST? GST is a comprehensive indirect tax. Means these are the different features. Okay, so this is especially it's mentioned in this syllabus. That's why given separately. What are the different characteristics of GST? Somewhat we discussed this previous video also, but clear cut note I am giving here and with explanation. Characteristics of a GST. First one is GST. GST is a comprehensive indirect tax. That is the first characteristic. GST has replaced about 17 indirect tax levied by state government and central government under the previous indirect tax regime. That means the previous indirect tax system cases, almost 17 indirect taxes are there. Means indirect tax levied by both the central government and state government. So now combined to one tax. So that is the first feature of a GST, that is GST is a comprehensive indirect tax. Second one is GST can be collected by registered taxpayer. Another point is who can only collect this GST? Registered taxpayer can collect this GST. GST can be collected only if the person is registered under GST. So who can only collect this GST? Who is a registered taxpayer, they can only collect this GST. Other persons can't collect this GST. Okay, so GST can be collected only if the person is registered under GST. Now next one is GST is a value added tax. So GST is a value added tax since GST paid, that is paid, that is input GST, is set off against GST collected output GST. So as a result, GST is levied on the incremental value. So what is the point? So whatever you paid, so that is called input GST. That you can adjust as a business people, then they are paying tax. At the same time they are collecting tax from customers. So whatever they paid, that they can adjust with what they collected as GST. So balance only they want to pay. So that's why it is a GST is a value added tax. So GST is value added since GST paid is set off. Paid is called input GST, is a set off against GST collected. Collected GST is called output GST. In our accounting process, that is called output GST. As a result, GST is levied on incremental value only. Okay, what is the balance? That's only levying this one. So next characteristics, that is GST is a destination based indirect tax. Finally destination point only collecting this one. So this is considering it as a destination based indirect tax. GST is charged every time is supplied, that is made till the time of goods and services reach the consumer, that is will not be sold further. Thus the destination based GST. So GST is another characteristics of a GST is a destination based indirect tax. That is GST is charged every time that is a sale is made till the time the goods or services reach the consumer, that will not be sold further. So it is called okay. So fourth one is okay, fourth one, that is GST is a destination based indirect tax. GST is charged every time supply is made till the time of goods and services reach the consumer, will not be sold for the final consumer who is consuming that product. That means his aim is to consume that product, not for further resale. Up to that situation that GST is charging. Okay, so that's why it is called a destination based tax. The next fifth characteristics of a GST, that is GST is a supply based tax. So GST is charged by the seller if he is registered under GST, whether the purchaser of goods and services is exempt from GST or not. That is GST is charged by the seller. So okay, it is registered under GST. So that is a supply based tax. Is a charge. Who is charging this GST? Seller is charging this GST. And who is paying that? Who is consuming that product? That person is paying that GST. So charged by this GST is charged by the seller, that he is registered under GST, that means a registered payer or registered person, whether the purchase of the goods or services is exempt from the GST or not. Okay, that means supply based only, whether the purchase of goods and services is exempt from GST or not. So that means if it is certain items are exempted from the GST, but that is not considered, but he is charging this GST, that is supply based only, he is charging that GST. That means whether purchaser of the goods or services is exempted from the GST, that is not considering. Purchaser of that goods and services is exempted from GST or not, that we are not considering. That is, seller is anyway charging that GST from the purchaser. Okay, that's the point. Next one is, if input credit of GST is paid is allowed, then it is an asset. Then if input credit of GST paid is allowed, it is an asset. Meaning is, in case GST paid means input GST can set off against GST collected, output GST, it is accounted as an asset. Otherwise, it is the cost for the business. That means whatever they paid, definitely they can adjust with the help of output GST, that is a collected GST, that a paid amount they can adjust, then it is an asset. Otherwise, they want to pay from their hand. Clear? Now, so if input credit of a GST is paid of allowed, paid is allowed, then it is an asset. Next one is GST collected is not an income but a liability. So GST is collected. GST collected is not an income but a liability. Means he is a collector. Who is collecting? Seller is collecting this GST. If he is not deposit this money up to the money to the treasury of this government treasury, then up to that period that is considering it as is a liability. Definitely he should pay that amount to the authority. So that's why, so whatever amount they collected, that is not an income. GST collection is not income, but GST is considering it as a liability because of his responsibility to deposit this amount in government authority. Okay, that's why that is a liability. So GST collected, or it is called output GST, is a liability because it is collected on behalf of the government. So after setting of input GST against output GST, if output GST has balance, then payable in the central government account. Okay, that means if first of all input GST, that is a paid GST, they can adjust with this output GST, balance it is there, then definitely his responsibility, his or her responsibility to pay to government account. That's point of view, we can say collected GST is not an income but a liability. Next one is unlike earlier indirect tax system, GST does not have a cascade effect. So earlier cases we discussed this one, cascading effect is there, but now with the help of this GST, no, that system is there. So the earlier period cascading system of means a confusing way of this tax is there. Now that one is not there. So almost all indirect taxes under the early indirect system are merged into GST, and GST paid normally can set off against the GST collected. Tax on tax is not levied. In effect, cascading effect of GST is removed. Earlier period, that is a one by one step collecting and value adding, tax on tax is there. So such a case is a very confusing one earlier period. Now this type of no confusion is there. Whatever amount they paid, they can adjust with the collected GST, then balance only they want to deposit to the government account. Tax on tax is not charging in this GST, such a point of view. So difficult way of calculating and a tough way of proceeding of this tax is not in GST system. Okay, so we can say the cascading effect of tax GST is removed. Okay. Now these are the different characteristics of GST. What are the? GST is a comprehensive indirect tax. GST can be collected by registered taxpayer. GST is a value tax, added tax. GST is in destination based indirect tax. GST is a supply based tax. If input credit of GST is paid is allowed, then it is an asset. That means input means what they paid already they set off with this one, then it is a asset one. Then GST is the destination based indirect tax. Sorry, that is already we discussed. The seventh one, GST collected is not an income but a liability. Unlike earlier indirect tax system, GST does not have a cascading effect. Okay, thank you and have a nice day.